As many of you know, before I was Dean of Rotman, I spent a long time in Ottawa, working both for the Bank of Canada and for the Department of Finance. And in these roles, I was deeply involved in really in the sweeping global reforms in financial regulation. I was involved through the G7. I was Canada's G7 finance deputy, the G20, and I was also very involved at the Financial Stability Board. And here we are actually at a G7 meeting, smiling as we raise the capital standards on banks. At home, I also work closely with Mark Carney, Julie Dixon, Minister Flaherty to implement these internationally agreed reforms in Canada. And here's Mark Carney and I trying to explain it to the House Finance Committee. Nobody likes to see their work get undone or rolled back. So I have to admit, it is with some trepidation that I wait to see exactly what President Trump has in mind when he says he's going to reduce regulation in financial services. But I don't know, some of you may have been here yesterday. Yesterday we had Fareed Zakaria from CNN speaking actually on the rise of populism and how Trump has become president. And at the podium, he said, just because Trump believes something doesn't mean it isn't true. There is a good case to be made that the pendulum of financial regulation has gone too far. There's no question that we were dramatically under-regulated before the crisis, but it may have swung too far towards overly burdensome and excessive regulation. And so, it's not unreasonable to think that we could benefit from the pendulum coming back more towards the middle. And when you look at the regulatory reforms that have happened, I have tremendous respect for Secretary Geithner, President Obama, and I think Dodd-Frank did do a lot of good, but one of the things that they really failed to take on is they failed to simplify and make their regulatory system more efficient. This is one of my favorite slides. This is Jamie Dimon's slide. This is J.P. Morgan. On the bottom are J.P. Morgan's units. On the top are the regulators. The gold are the regulators before Dodd-Frank, and the green are the regulators after Dodd-Frank. And Jamie Dimon's message was, well, it's a little different, but it's certainly not any simpler. The U.S. has 4 different regulators for deposit-taking institutions, 2 conduct regulators with CFTC and SEC. It's got state regulation of insurance, so every state's got its own regulator. It's got Fannie, Freddie, Sallie Mae, and I think Geithner and Obama really looked at. I think they wanted to make this more efficient, but and rationalize the regulation, but they just saw that the turf wars and the vested interests were going to be very tough. They didn't control the House, both the House and the Senate, and they just didn't think it was going to be a fight that they had a chance to win. Now, President Trump does have control of both houses, and he does seem to like a fight. So is he going to take this on? Is he going to try and rationalize the U.S. system?